Do this. Next up, we have Tempestissimo Uncut Edition by t+pazolite from the Arcaea soundtrack. I don't know if it's official or not, but it's featured in Arcaea. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what is happening here musically. So, if you like the sound of that, make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you want to use, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member, all that good stuff. Support this channel as much as you want, not at your own expense though. Two disclaimers. Number one, this is my first time hearing this track, so I will be pausing a lot, as I will be pointing things out as I hear them and as I realize them. Okay, it is official soundtrack. There you go, I just got corrected. Excellent. And number two, this is recorded live on stream. As you can see, it was a chatter who just corrected me. Arctic, who was the person who very kindly bribed me into checking this out. This is recorded live on stream on a single take, so I might stumble upon my words. Whatever happens, happens. So with that being said, let's check this out. Tempestissimo. Let's go. Okay, so we start with a white noise of the rain falling. Like, usually that's white noise. Fills up the ambience, very good for texture. Plus, what seems to be in between piano and organ, like a small scale organ, and or synth, giving us some initial chords with what could be a motif. Motif being the smallest version of your musical idea, the seed, the essence from which everything else comes from, right? So let's just see where it goes. Let's just see where it goes. We covered? That is also an issue towards CS. Very beautiful chords. That took a turn. That took a turn. Okay, so very quickly we turn this around into an absolute tempest. We bring in a very fast bass drum doing its thing. We're doing side chaining, I believe, which is, you know, the bass, whenever the bass drum hits, everything else kind of just gets pushed around, and it's only the bass. And in between those, we are getting still those chords being played. And we bring in a harpsichord. I love the harpsichord. Harpsichords are a very early version of the keyboard. They were used mainly throughout the classical period. You can see they are very ornamental, very beautiful instruments. They look a lot like what we now call a piano. The mechanism, however, is a lot simpler. When it comes to the piano or the pianoforte, the mechanism of the piano is that you press down the key, and however hard you press, there is a hammer that will press at that same speed. When it came to harpsichords, clavichords, whatever variations we used to have, the system was mainly you push down the key and the system will pluck the string. No matter how hard or how soft you press the key, it will always just go up, go that way. So it's very much associated with the classical period of music, you know, the times of Mozart, of Haydn, of all these guys from that era. Not so much nowadays, which gives it that sense of, you know, look, just look at this one, right? It has a very beautiful painting within it, because that's what these times used to have. It was all about just pure art. It was all about everything was beautiful, everything was art, everything had some sort of beauty to it. And that we attribute to class nowadays. When you see stuff like this, it looks fancy. It sounds fancy. So the sound of the harpsichord is going to be associated with something fancy. That is usually the purpose of instrumentation. Or orchestration. Orchestration is what the snobs in the conservatories call it. Instrumentation is pretty much everybody else, right? So, So yeah, we're having this, and it's just giving us this very, very cool. By the way, Mustard, it's exclamation point current song. That's the command. So yeah, let's see where this goes. Very cool. Ooh. And it sounds like we also had either a saxophone, like a bass saxophone, or a trombone there, giving us a little bit of a bass line. Man, this is very, very cool, man. Okay, so the harpsichord is giving us the motif, which I think the melody being given to us by the harpsichord is the same melody that was being played by the piano at the start. However, we are getting this synth giving us what is called a reduction. A reduction, when it comes to melody, reduction means that you are making something play faster over a shorter period of time. In which case, the harpsichord is a reduction of the pianos being played, of the piano chords, because whenever you have chords, right, a chord is basically a vertical stack of notes. And we had the piano playing a bunch of chords, very, very lovely, all that kind of stuff. But if you take the top note of each of them, you can very, very much trace out a melody. So we take that melody, we extrapolate it, we get a reduction. So we have this shape, and then we make it play through a shorter period of time, and it's just faster. And then we do that again with another synth to give it another layer of reduction. And it works really, really well. Let's see where it goes. Very cool. There it is again. The drum speeds up a lot more. And off the ramp we go. So going off the ramp is a colloquial term that I use. Colloquial means that there is no academic term for it, or at least I'm not using it for the sake of simplicity, for the sake of being able to explain things, right? And going off the ramp is what I call the transition between sections that makes a listener feel suspended up in the air at the mercy of inertia, going off a ramp, waiting to see where we land. How did this happen? Remove the drums. You remove the drums, maybe the bass too, and you got it. Now we removed everything. Let's see where we land. Let's see what gets added. We get that piano and that rain back in what we call a recapitulation. A recapitulation. That's when you revisit material pretty much one-to-one, and in this case, the sound of the rain, even though it was white noise, it is still being used as an instrument. So yes, rain is an instrument. Mayonnaise can be an instrument. Let's see where this goes. Oh no, we're adding an extra layer now, so it's a variation. And now we bring the melody. Similar melody to what we had before. But, man, this is not an instrument. It can be. So yeah, now we're having a somewhat reduced version of the melody without it being too fast. It's faster than what the harpsichord was playing at, I think, but it's slower than what the other one was doing, and it's this very cool middle ground that even though it's playing fast, because the piano is playing it slow, it's just giving it a very lovely sense of pace. Let's see where it goes. With a trill. With a trill. That what you just heard just now when you bounce back and forth between notes, that is called a trill. It is one of the very few quantum notes that exists in the world of music. Because when you are in music, you're using, when it comes to melodies, you use scales, right? Scales are a collection of notes. Whatever collection of notes extrapolated kind of in a meta sense of what you are playing. And a trill is one of those very, very few moments where it counts as playing two notes at the same time. Even though you're playing one after the other, the way they are played counts as being played both at the same time. Let's take for example, the the scale of C major, right? So C, D, E, F, G, A, and B, then we got C again. So if you want to make something like a melody, right, you have C, D, E, and F. Yeah, each note is going to go C, D, E, and F. However, if you have a chord, let's say you make your chord of C major, C, E, and G, but you also want to play that F without sounding too dissonant, because if you play two notes that are too close to one another, not drill, trill, with a T, T for T-Rex. So, if you play two notes that are too close together, it can sound dissonant. So if you're playing a C major chord, which is C, E, and G, and you play an F, and you actually play it by itself, it's going to sound dissonant. So how can you get away with playing it? You do a trill, and you play E and F at the same time. And that bouncing back and forth makes it count as both, and therefore neither, and therefore the dissonance is gone. It's one of those very, very few things in music that are pretty much difficult. There's no logical way to explain this, it just is. And trills are one of these, because then the notes become kind of quantum, because you're playing both. Even though you're not. Because if you were playing both, you would get the sound of dissonance. But because you're playing both right one after the other, you don't. And it really just completely, it can completely turn everything upside down. It's a very good way of playing multiple chords at the same time. Because then if you have a trill, it counts as having two. For example, if you have the chord C, E, and G, that is C major, and then A, C, and E, that is A minor, but then you do a trill G and A, then you're playing both C major and A minor at the same time. So it's one of those things that it becomes kind of quantum to that extent, and it's just how it works. It's just how it works. No, trills actual term in music. We only heard them as a type of pattern used when charting rhythm games. Yeah, no, trills are a pattern. There is no good gifts of chant hands. No, of course there aren't. We're gonna have to make one for myself. So, all right, let's see where this goes. Welcome, Milk. Welcome to today. How you doing? Very beautiful melody. We're getting this. And we bring back just drip feeding that bass drum, kind of like doing an intro to it, breaking away, not fully jumping into it like we did the first time around, but this time actually easing us a little bit more into this. Funnily enough, structurally speaking, when it comes to music, you have something called form, which is a structure of your music. Our A section, when it comes to instrumental music, you're going to use letters. So our A section has been the piano and rain section. Then we had our first electronic music section, which is a contrasting section with the harpsichord and the, I think, saxophone and the other synth. Then we came back to the A section with a variation. Whenever you have a variation, you call it prime. In this case, A prime, one apostrophe, means the first variation. We had the piano, we had a little bit more of a melody now implemented, it lasted a little bit longer, and most importantly, it had the extra synths, and it had the trills and everything. Now, depending on how this goes, we are either going to go back to B, or we're going to go to C. And depending on that, we're going to be either in a binary, or in a rondo. For how different this has been sounding, we might be going to a rondo. Let's see where this goes. Different melody. Oh, that's fast. Okay, so now we're having this new version, this new variation of the motif. It's going down, basically. I think it's a... No, it's not a retrograde. I don't think it's a retrograde. I think it's just a variation, a slight variation of it. A retrograde is when you play the notes backwards, basically. When you rearrange the notes to be backwards in the rhythm, in the motif. And of course, the drums are very, very different. And we have a synth up there that is kind of doing a flying melody, kind of not. And yes, we are now in section C. This is now a rondo. Rondo is a form, a structure, which is to go around. We went from section A to section B, back to section A to section C. And if this structure proves true, after section C, we're going to go to another variation of section A. Let's see if this holds true. Wild. And you can hear how now the bass drum is following and accentuating the melody a little bit more rather than just keeping a steady beat. So, really good way of creating more contrast, more variation, while more or less keeping... And of course, the synth that is playing this melody now is different. So let's see where it goes. Speed up. This is definitely build-up for something, but let's see what for. Second half of section C. Off the ramp we go. This is all part of the same thing. And now we go to a variation of section B. We go to a variation of section B. This is very, very similar to what we heard in section B. Unless section A and section B, we could count those as section A. I don't really think so. But now we're off to a variation of section B. We are recapitulating a bunch of the material we had there. So, Ursula, thank you. Welcome to today. How you doing? Jeez, I'm mixing so many things today. So yeah, we're having this small recapitulation. It could be a break. It could be a recapitulation. Let's see where we're going. The ceiling. And this time, the variation here is mainly in the form of the drums and the lack of the harpsichord this time around. So, very good to use a variation where you just take stuff away. It's risky to do that. It's risky to do a variation where you just take away one of the layers, but it can help you give more focus to any of the other existing layers, in which this case is the second synth that was playing. So, let's see. Ooh. Brief moment there. Still part of B prime. We teased a return to A in a reduced form, and we broke it down, but this still could be... Oh, let's just see where it goes. I would say this qualifies as A double prime. The melody is the same. The chords are the same. I would say this qualifies as A double prime. No, we could still chalk this to B prime. Like, these sections are a lot more elongated. Yeah, I would say therefore, this could easily all be part of section C, with part of it being a recall to section B. I still think this being section B, not section A double prime, because we are going back to that original theme in this way. No, but it's the same melody as B prime, so we're still in B prime. There you go. I just had to do this. There we go. To another break. Speeding up. Recapitulating what we had before in section C. Wait, recapitulating what we had in section C. So this would be C. This would be going back to C. So this is a little bit going off, but in a meta sense, we are doing a new set of A. We went from A to B to A to C, but to a certain extent, now in the second half of this piece, C is the new A. C is our new A. We're doing this weird kind of like double rondo in this case because we've gone back to C. We've gone back to C, and if we go back to something else, yeah, we're doing a very strange variation of a double rondo, which is fairly unusual, but it is working. So let's see where this goes. I'm really liking the instruments here. We're having that very notorious synth that goes upwards for building tension. We're building towards something. Let's see where this goes. Completely glitched out. Off the ramp. And we bring it to A double prime. We bring it back to A double prime with now this being completely off the rails. So in a sense, this would be A, this would be B, this would be back to A, and in this second layer of rondo, this would be C. C equals A equals C, A double prime. I've never seen this before, man. It's working. It is working so well with the structure, even though in the most strictest academic sense, you don't want to do this. But t+pazolite has done this in a way that it's actually working. So, how many primes until you just get to the next part? Oh, it depends on how long the section is. So in this case, the thing about prime in this case, this is A double prime because the first iteration of A was just the piano with the rain in the background. Second iteration was rain in the background, piano, and a synth doing the melody. This time, we are sped up. We're getting the piano. We're getting those melodies. We're still getting everything, but it's still essentially the same idea, the same overall section. I am just more shocked about the fact that this is now a rondo in this sense, because it's kind of like a double rondo. It's absolutely wild. CBC, yeah, CBC here, CBCA would be a secondary rondo to this. Yeah, this is the whole thing. Like, we went from rondo number 1 to rondo number 2 using the same material. I'd never seen this before. This is very fascinating. Let's see where this goes. Nico, welcome back. How you doing? The timing, very good timing, yes. Yeah, A. And we're actually giving A the time to shine here. Of course, we're adding a bunch of stuff here, right? We got layers on top of layers. We're doing climax here. We added a vocal sample and everything. We're just building this up. Let's see how this ends. Let's see how it ends. Very energetic, yeah. We still got that melody from A with the trills. And now we're in the outro. We had this break before, and we're using it as outro now. We break things down with the melody from A. With one last callback to the start, just building one more cadence with a very, very cool outro. And there you go. We have a double rondo. And it actually worked. Man, this is awesome. This is awesome. So there you go. That was Tempestissimo Uncut Edition by t+pazolite from the Arcaea soundtrack, also featured in Geometry Dash as far as I understand. Man, this was incredible. Incredible. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician and composer, and my objective here has been to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what's happened here musically. So, if you're watching this on the YouTube video archive thing, thank you for watching. Make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you want to use. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member, all that good stuff. Support this channel as much as you want, but not at your own expense. If you want to listen to this without me interrupting every 3 seconds, I'll be linking it in the description. If you want to request a song and you're not on the live stream, if you're on the live stream, you can start requesting. If you're not on the live stream, go to the Discord server, go to the LFA requests channel, and follow the instructions on the pinned messages. And if you want to catch the streams when we do these live, we aim for Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central European Time.
It smells like a fucking weeb.
We aim for Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central European Time. If you want to know what time that is for you, we have the full schedule in your local time zone on the Discord and the Twitch link down below. They show the full up-to-date schedule in your local time zone so that you don't have to bother with calculating. And follow the gaming channel. We have a gaming channel, of course we do, because we're on YouTube. What else would we have? Games Are Bastard. That's where we put the VODs of our gaming after shows whenever they happen, if they happen. Link down below, or search for Games Are Bastard. Same username as James R. Bastard. You swap the J for a G and you got it. And yeah, there you go. Man, this was awesome. Tempestissimo. Very, very cool. Very unusual, man. Very, very good stuff. But yeah, let's